I'm Michelle, and I am presenting on Rush Limbaugh, who recently made a bid to buy the St. Louis Rams and was denied his right to buy an NFL team. He dropped himself from the bid amid a lot of controversy about him being a potential NFL owner. Let me say this right now. I am not a Rush Limbaugh fan. I do not care for Rush Limbaugh, and I am not defending Rush Limbaugh in any way. Agree or disagree with Rush Limbaugh, love or hate Rush Limbaugh, I do not think he should have been denied the right to have to live his fulfillment of the American dream. NFL team ownership is not cheap. The Texans, $905 million. Anybody have $905 million to buy the Houston Texans? $923 for the Cowboys. The Rams, which is the team that he was interested in, was $708 million. The payroll player expenses for the Houston Texans alone are $140 million, and it varies from team to team. And there are 35 teams in the NFL, with all those, the highest one being like $1.2 billion. There is also fantasy football, which has become a fairly recent phenomenon with the American culture. There are tens of millions of people playing fantasy football. My brother-in-law is a fantasy football player, has a fantasy football team. And that figure of tens of millions of people playing fantasy football increases by 10 to 15% every year since it's been around. Costs vary for fantasy football teams depending on your league, depending on your level of competition, depending on the websites that you use to get your statistics from and all this kind of stuff. Generally, it's a couple of $100 up to $1,000. And it started, according to the author of Football for Dummies, it started by saying, if I were a team owner, how many of you when we watched football said this? If I was a team owner, I would do things differently. I would ... That's kind of how fantasy football came about. Rush Limbaugh is in the unique position, because of his money, he is able to turn his fantasy football into reality football and actually own a football franchise. Rush, on his radio show, employs one black man who is the call screener. He has one female who actually enters the data onto the computer screen to aid Rush in his radio show, and the remainder of his employees are white males. There's about 8 employees on his show. His ego is notorious. I don't know if you'll be able to see this slide. But this is from his first book, The Way Things Ought to Be. It says, I'm amused when opponents refer to me as the most dangerous man in America. I like that so much that I have stolen it from them and now use it myself. Why am I dangerous? Simple, because I am right. And because I'm having fun being right. That's a big egotistical statement to me. Another one says, in his second book, let's see now. I've conquered radio, television, the newsletter business, and the book world. How is this possible? People respond to what I say because it is right. My wit and my wisdom are like a lifeline of reason. No wonder more people are clinging to my hopeful and incisive words every day. So, to me, that's just way out of line with. He just has a big ego. That's way out of line. However, that being said, the American dream is set forth by our founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence. The first time the phrase was used was in a book called The Epic of America, and that dream says that dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. A dream of social order in which each man and each woman shall be able to obtain to the fullest stature of which they are innately capable and be recognized by others for what they are. And then our founding fathers, of course, You're not going to be able to see it, but we hold these truths, my laser pointer is going out, to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are the rights of life, capitalized, liberty, capitalized, and the pursuit of happiness, capitalized. The rants. Rush is definitely living his First Amendment by the First Amendment right of free speech as set forth in the Constitution. He is in a unique position to be able to purchase an NFL team. Bart Scott, who is the linebacker for the NFL New York Jets, says, "I wouldn't play for Rush Limbaugh. My principles are greater and I cannot be bought." And I'm sure that Rush would have a very difficult time of getting NFL players and draftees to play for him. Maybe it would teach a lesson, but with his huge ego, I doubt it would take. That being said, I do not think it was right. Agree or disagree with him, love him or hate him, agree or disagree with him. I don't think it was right, because we don't agree with what he says, to deny him the right of his pursuit of his life, his liberty, or his pursuit of happiness.